Okay, so hello and welcome to the first ever edition of the Rollt Roundtable, where in this roundtable we'll be previewing the RBBL 1. Joining with me today are four of the biggest names in the RBBL 1. We have Brian Bell from RSV Lahn-Dill, André Bienek from RSB Thuringia Bulls, Joe Bestwick from Hannover United, and Mareike Miller from BG Baskets Hamburg. Guys, thank you for joining us today. We'll crack on with it. The first question I've got for you is, André, I'll start with you. First of all, how are you doing? And how's your pre-season gone so far?
I'm doing great. We're all healthy and I hope that stays that way. Our pre-season is going well. We're trying to adapt, trying to fit all the new guys into our system and get our level of conditioning back. But yeah, we're really excited about the season to start.
Yeah, good. And you've had some pre-season games already against Radden. That first game was fairly tight, but you were running some lineups in that game, and then the second game it was comfortable win for you. How were those games in that weekend in Radden?
It was good. I think we got our mindset straight, because the first game was where we kind of was overwhelmed by Raden's aggressiveness, and we had a hard time adapting. I think we did a good job in the second half, but in the second game we came out with a better mindset, and that made the difference in the end.
Yeah, and you say a better mindset. What were some of the key elements to that mindset?
I mean, we haven't played basketball in 7 months now, and it's hard to always play among each other, and then a different team comes in and pushes you around or tries to push you around, and this is we were kind of not surprised, but it was still a different feel for everything, and I think everybody feels the same, and then we started using our strength, our bodies, and going a little bit faster, and our style of playing, and that's it basically.
Yeah, and then you've got another preseason game coming up tomorrow as we record this against Hannover, Joe's team. Mm-hmm. What's your mindset going into that game?
Same thing. Hannover is a great team, and they got a new player with Matthias Günther, and I think it's going to be a good test for us. And we always had great games in the last couple of years, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, good. And then, Joel, we'll go to you next. As I mentioned, you've got a game against Thuringia tomorrow. How is Hannover preparing for that?
I think we're preparing for it pretty much the same as we prepare for any game, to be honest. It's going to be weird. Like André said, it's been 7 months since any of us have touched a basketball kind of competitively other than training against each other, and it's just not comparable. Going into a game where, of course, it's just a friendly game, but where you're seeing different people, you're seeing different lineups, not the same faces every day for 7 months is going to be very different for us. I think the preseason for us generally has been a little bit disrupted, I guess, with basically everyone in the world. The last few weeks have been tricky. We had one positive case within Hannover United, so that meant we were all out training for a little while. Things like that, and there's niggles with a few different people, but I think mainly we're just excited to get playing now. Hopefully we can play at the weekend and then play Hamburg the day after that, and then see what the season brings the week after.
Yeah, so as you mentioned there, you're going to play against Hamburg, so we'll go to Mareike next. Mareike, how's Hamburg's pre-season gone so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's going pretty well. We've been doing exactly what everyone's been saying, training and playing against each other only. It's pretty different to normal that all summer long we just train and train and train, and there's no opponents, obviously. And it's been a pretty difficult situation, obviously, just to do that and not have any games in between. And we're pretty excited to get back on the court and actually play some games. But at the same time, we know we have to be cautious about the situation. And we just rescheduled our first game because actually unfortunately, our first game was supposed to be in Munich, which is the furthest distance we could have to travel. And with the current situation, the travel and having to stay at a hotel with an 8-hour drive to Munich, I'm really happy that both clubs agreed to move it to a later date, just to push away this big trip a little bit for us. And so we'll actually start a little later into the season, which makes it a little bit further away yet again. But so, yeah, I just look forward to the first test game and hope that everything is going to go well and that we can start into the season just like we all hope to, healthy and with all teams just being able to do all the trips and do all that safely.
Yeah, and like you say, it's important to be safe and cautious during these times, and obviously rescheduling that game against Munich is probably the safest thing to do. But like you say, the test game should be good. Brian, we'll come to you last. I understand that you've had some pre-season games against the Rhinos. How have they been for Lahn-Dill?
It's been pretty well. Kind of going off what everyone else has said. It's been 7 months since we played anyone competitive, so we're just playing ourselves in practice. So I felt really good to actually get back out there and play another team. Of course, there was a lot of, rusty spots here and there, a lot of mistakes. And that's to be expected without playing that long. But it was good. It was a very learning experience, definitely with some of our new guys coming in with like Sager and Katya. But it was good. We got a good practice, 2 practice games in, and we learned a lot from it.
Yeah, that's good. That's great to hear. And obviously, you mentioned some new signings there. We'll touch on them a bit later on. But next question I've got for you guys, Brian, we'll stick with you. What are Lahn-Dill's strengths this season, and what have the team improved since last season?
I think we increased in size a little bit with Sager coming in, kind of replacing Mikey. And I feel like now with the new signing with Steve, we got a little bit faster as well. So just kind of holding in on trying to be a little bit bigger, a little bit faster to kind of keep up with some of the bigger, faster teams. So yeah, we're just kind of working towards that to kind of have an overall team rather than being kind of smaller, a shooting team, kind of being kind of mixed and balanced in that regard.
Yeah, and you say you've added some more height to your team. How do you think that will benefit you in the league?
I think it will be a good switch. I know last year I was more outside a little bit, kind of half and half. I feel like this season I'm going to be a little bit more outside oriented with all the bigs we have now. So it's kind of a different feel, but I'm used to it. I've done it before in Camp 2, so I'm up for the challenge. I just have to get back in the mindset of, really kind of organizing the offense and making sure everyone's in the same spot and what spots they want to be in the right spots when they need to be.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Brian. And then Mareike, will go to you next. What have Hamburg improved since last season?
Well, I think it's hard to say that we improved from last season when we were only training and we don't have any competitions to really see where we're at as a team. I think we were in a good spot at the end of last season. We really improved throughout the season. And I think so far it looks like we've done a good job to just stay where we are and be ready to continue that improvement throughout the season. We kept most of the team as much as we could, and we added a very young one-pointer that we're very hopeful that will be a good youth player from Germany to really develop and start getting into the first league. And I think we continue to have a good team that really just wants to improve. And like I said, I think we were in a good spot, and we just really hope to move up from there.
That's good to hear. And then, Joe, I've seen on your Instagram, you put some shots up and stuff. What have Hannover improved since last season?
We've had nothing else to do but put shots up for like 7 months. It's going to be nice to not put shots up for a while and actually play some games. Yeah, I don't know. I think Mareike hit the nail on the head. Like, I know we'll tell you in a few months what we've improved. Like, as of right now, we've done well that we've kept the same group of guys together. I think all being well, our strengths from last season should be our strengths from this season again. Like, we have a relatively balanced height, I think, across the team, depending whether we play Mars or we play Ollie or we play Haller in the 2 spot. Adding Matters Guntner, obviously, as a big guy, has increased our average weight a little bit, at least. Like, he is a powerful boy. Like, we've been playing some one-on-one, and if that guy makes contact with you, you know about it. Like, he's maybe a little bit more of a mismatch shooter as well than Christoph, like our other center. So Christoph's really a good slasher, great first push, and knocks down those shots. Matters maybe increases our range a little bit there and is a bit more powerful. So I don't know, we'll see as the season goes on, I guess.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And then Andre, do you think this downtime, well, you've just got the training to do essentially, do you think it's obviously you've missed competition like the guys have touched on, but do you think in a way it's also helped sort of refocus teams or your team specifically?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's always a time when you're out of games and there's nothing else to do. It's always a good time to reflect a little bit and change your perspective on everything, and even like to look at your game, and if you can add something to it, or just like your mental focus to like calm down a little bit and then focus on what's really important. And I've been doing that. Like I've been analyzing my game a little bit and seeing where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, or the weaknesses more than strengths. And then adapting all summer to it. And yeah, I'm really excited to see if it worked, see if I made the right adjustments, the right decisions. And for us as a team, it's the same thing. I mean, we added 3 new players, and it's just like getting into rhythm, and that's going to be fun.
Okay, that's great to hear, Andre. Thank you for that. Moving on to my next question, I'll go back to Joe for this. Joe, obviously, like you mentioned before, like when you prepare for a team, you prepare the same way as for any team. But when you what do you look forward to the most when you play a specific team? Say, for example, when you play the Bulls or Lahn-Dill or Hamburg, is there anything specific that you look forward to, or is it the sort of same process?
I don't think you prepare exactly the same. Obviously, there are differences team to team. Like we do our video in the weeks leading up to games, like focusing on what they do, like what we can do to nullify their strengths. I think with Bulls over the last couple of years, it's been the physicality. For me personally, like I've loved going against guys like Matt and Jake and Andre and the guys who really want to beat you up a little bit in the games. Like that's always been good fun. Well, with the Lahn-Dill guys, it's always just good to have a catch up and see a few of the different faces and enjoy the game. And then with Hamburg, it's the same. It's like this local rivalry a little bit. And we've had some really close games. We've had some really tough losses against them. I think the beginning of last season, we lost the game, which really pissed us off. And I think that lit a fire for us a little bit for the rest of the season. And we've had some good wins as well. So it's always a little bit with Hamburg looking back at the games over the last couple of years to get a bit of extra motivation.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that was last season against Hamburg. Was it a 1-point loss or a 2-point loss?
Something like that, yeah. It was an annoying loss is what it was.
Yeah. Well, I bet you for Mareike it was a nice victory to get. So, yeah, continuing on with that sort of line of questioning, Brian, we'll go to you next. Is there anything specific that you like when you play against certain teams? I know the Lahn-Dill Bulls rivalry has sort of been the rivalry in Germany for several years now.
It's like kind of Joe said, you kind of do video leading up to it. You kind of scout the team, make sure that you're playing the right ways, and then making sure that you defend them the right way, and just getting everyone on the same page. I think this year I feel without Mikey, he's a big leadership part. Just being able to kind of get everyone on the same page and make sure everyone's focused. I know this year we have 2 captains, so that kind of helps with it a little bit. So we have at least 2 people kind of taking the burden of doing the captainship a little bit. So yeah, just making sure everyone's focused, because we have like a kind of mixed group of people that can have different thoughts, different types of ideas. So we making sure that everyone's on the same page would be the biggest key lean up to the game, and everyone's working well.
Yeah, and you say that Mikey was a big leader in the squad last year. Who sort of stepped up in that leadership role since Mikey has retired?
Right now, it's Simon and Tommy are the leaders. I would say Simon's a little bit more because he's used to being a little bit more vocal with the GB team as a captain before. But Tommy's been doing pretty well as well, being a little bit more outspoken. I know he's more of a quiet guy. But yeah, they're doing an excellent job so far. Just looking forward to the season and how well we do leading up. So just looking forward to it.
Yeah, good to hear. And then, as you mentioned, Simon has had a previous experience being a captain before with the co-captain of the GB team previous years. How have you found that leadership under Simon?
Really well. He's a very, very vocal guy. Even in practice, he lets everyone know. He's really good at kind of, if he's losing a little bit of focus, he lets everyone know. If he's sitting on the sideline, he's constantly talking. It's just those little small things. Because when you're playing, you can't always, talk to every single person every single moment. So if you're off the court, you can always hear him saying something or directing someone in the right place.
Yep. And just following on from that, André, I'll go to you next. To me personally, and you might disagree with me here, but you've always, to me, seemed the leader of both the Bulls and the German men's team. So how important do you think it is for teams to sort of have that leader going forward as they prepare for a new season?
I was never a captain. This is a funny thing. I was always the loudest guy, so I'm probably just everybody thought that I was a captain or leader or whatever. So that's just my personnel and being loud and telling everybody what to do. And some people take it. That's good. But it's really important to have a strong leader. I'm the captain now of the Bulls team, and to be honest, I'm not doing anything different. It's just there's a C behind my name on the sheet, at the end of the game. So, but it's really important, as Brian said, to have somebody to be there and to keep everybody focused, and to that there's a guy between the coach who can talk a little bit and communicate a little bit more detailed about it. And that's going to be interesting too this season with Matt and Jake not there. And I think we are such an established team, and everybody kind of knows their role. That's going to be easy for us to overcome that part.
Definitely, that's fantastic to hear. And then Mareike, similar to André, I'd say you've been quite a big leader within the German women's team. How have you sort of motivated your team and saw that leadership role in Hamburg, especially with COVID? It's been quite a low point for everyone's morale this year.
Well, I think for any team that I've been on, I've been fortunate enough to have players around me that don't need a lot of extra motivation from me. But I'm also obviously loud at times. I try to direct. I've been playing wheelchair basketball for many years, and I try to use my game intelligence to really help lead any team I'm with. But at the same time, I think we have a unique situation in Hamburg with having my teammate Ali as player coach. And so obviously he's our main leader. But especially having a player coach that's playing himself, he's not always able to be in all places and watch us from the outside. So I think for the last year and a half, we've had a really good working group where we can just help each other out and kind of have a similar situation as having two captains, but him obviously doing more and being the coach and guiding us even more, but just us assisting each other, being able to have two people in practice and on the court, just really trying to push the team together.
Yeah, and like you say, it's trying to push the team together and get people motivated. That's sort of the main thing going ahead for the coming season. And I think, like you say, you've said before, you've not played basketball competitively in 7 months. So I think that's a big motivation factor right now. Going on to my next question. So, I want to talk about the new signings for your respective clubs. Joe, will come to you first. Hannover have signed Matthias Günther from the Rhinos, and you spoke a little bit about him before, about his height and his power. Could you just expand a little bit more about Matthias?
Yeah, I think one of the things which I've been most impressed with, and obviously until you train with the guy every week, you don't know, is his work ethic. Like, he's somebody who's come in, and obviously different people need to work at different levels to feel like they get the best out of themselves. Yeah, he's somebody he always wants to do that little bit extra. Like, he's taking as many shots as possible. He's always asking questions. He wants to get advice from the guys. Like, a few of us have been around a little bit longer than he has, and he always wants this, like, more and more and more input. He's always the guy that when training's finished, he wants to play one-on-one, or he wants to do something extra. Like, I wish I had as much energy as he did, but I think maybe in 15 years' time, he won't have quite so much either. Yeah, his work ethic's his big thing. What we need to keep working on is obviously his reads. Like, he's been playing an assistant in Wiesbaden where he was one of the really key guys, and whereas we play maybe a little bit more systematic basketball than Wiesbaden do, they're a little bit more run and gun. So I think he'll take some time, the same as with any new players, same as with Haller 2 years ago, same as with Mars last year, that people need a little bit of time to get used to different systems. And that'll be the same with Matthias. And like, he shouldn't put too much pressure on himself. Like, everyone knows how good he is and how talented he is, and his minutes will come and his points will come, and he's gonna help us a lot, I think.
Yeah, and Matthias, he's a similar stature to you and a same constitution.
What are you trying to say? Dude's got like 30 kilos on me.
No, but like
similar stature, Jesus.
No, I mean like similar, like height and
Yeah.
But like, would you almost say that guys like you are a mentor to him?
You'd have to ask him. Like, I don't know. Like, I think there are definitely things that I can help him with. Like, if he wants to learn, then that's good. But he's also, he's him. Like, if maybe he ends up being more of a center, but I mean, I was a center essentially for 10 years. It was just coming to somewhere like Hannover, where it's kind of forced me to expand my game a little bit. And who knows, his game can be anything that he wants it to be. He needs to decide who he wants to take bits of advice from, and and just finding things out for himself as well, like trying things. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him.
Yeah, definitely. And then, Mareike, I'll come back to you. I want to talk to you about some of the women that have signed in the German League this season, specifically Aaron Young for the Rhinos, Helen Freeman for the Bulls, and Kata Weiss for Lahn-Dill. You've obviously played alongside Kata on the German women's team, and then with Aaron Young and Helen Freeman, you've had many battles against them. So what do you think that those women will come into the German League will do for the women's game in general?
I think most of those women have been playing at a high level in their respective countries, or like Erin in college in the US so far. And I think it's going to be a good development for them personally, probably playing in another league, getting other influences from different players, from different coaches. Really any league and any exploring of other personnel and tactics, I think is going to really expand their abilities. And so I'm not sure what exactly is going to change, or if they're going to take all those things back to their teams and change a lot about their game with the national team. But I'm sure they personally will improve each of their game for sure.
Yeah. And are you excited to go up against them at the club level?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of good competitions with all of them. I mean, GB has been a constant competitor for us. Canada, same. And actually, we also added Maja Lindholm, our 2-5 from the German team, and I'm really excited to have her alongside with me on the court again as well here in Hamburg.
It's great to hear. Brian, we'll go to you next. I want to talk to you about a couple of signings. Mainly Ian Sagar and Steve Serio. Obviously, you've played with Steve before at college at Illinois. And then, how will those guys add to Lahn-Dill going forward for this season?
Well, Sagar is big. He works really, really hard. And he's kind of more of a post guy. So it's a little bit different for him kind of taking the place of Mikey. So it makes us a little bit taller. And that way we can have me and Tommy as primary shooter, or even Steve now as primary shooters. As a Steve, he brings speed, brings experience. He played at this club, played in the German league before, captain of our national team. Just the experience, the high level shooting speed that he brings to our club now. It'd be really, really great. We'll be able to press a little bit more effectively now with him in the lineup in rotations. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hang on, sorry, my mic was muted. Hey, that's great to hear. Thanks for that, Brian. André, I'll go to you next. You've signed, obviously, I'll address the elephant in the room. Like Matt and Drake, they are big losses for the Bulls. However, you have brought in a new American, Ian Pearson. So how will he add to the Bulls for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, like you cannot replace a Matt Scott and a Jake Williams at the same time. I mean, it's just one of the two best players probably in the world right now. But our strength was always like a team play, and I think with everybody that we signed, we continue that on. Ian is a fantastic shooter and just a natural playing basketball. And we scouted him playing in Spain, and he was actually like the third best shooter, 3-point shooter in Spain, and nobody really noticed that. And he just like, it's funny, like he came on the court like the very first practice and he nailed like 3 threes in a row, and it'd be like, okay, he's here, he's he's perfect for us. And it's just like adapting him for our speed and our system and whatnot, like our style of defense. But I think he will have no problems of finding his way into our team, into our lineups. Helen too. Helen's been playing for 1 week now, practicing for a week now with us, and she adapted already. Like the speed, the quick game. It's tough for all of them, but like they're doing a great job. Same with Mareike. She's in and out. She's always like she has a Doppellizenz, and she's in and out. But every time she's here with us for like a couple of days, she improves, and she's going to help us a lot down the road. And yeah, I don't think they're going to have a big problem adjusting. It's just like continuing our style of play, and yeah.
All right, that's good to hear. Final go around I have for you. So Brian, I'll go back to you for this one. Could you just outline Lahn-Dill's goals for the upcoming season and what you'd like to achieve both individually and as a team?
Individually, I would say my goal is coming into a kind of a different role from last year, being kind of half and half, big guy and outside shooter. More this year, probably be more primarily outside shooter. Just finding consistency, going to spots that I know I can make shots, increasing my range, kind of back to where it was in Can 2 a little bit, shooting a little bit more threes in a more efficient manner. As a team, just kind of getting or maintaining what we've been doing the past couple of years of playing well, playing hard, playing fast. We kind of really rely on our speed and trying to be a little bit faster than other teams. So it's just kind of sticking with that. We're still gonna, do our normal of trying to press every team or try to be as quick as possible on chairs as possible. And then just playing well with a bunch of new guys this year. So just kind of finding adjustments and fine tuning what we need to do.
That's great to hear that. Thanks, Brian. Joel, we'll go to you next. Obviously, last season you made a big offensive presence on the league, with being the top scorer. So what are Hannover's goals for the upcoming season?
I'd say if we can maintain our performance level from last year, and if we can maintain our league position, then that's been a successful season for us. Like, obviously, we'd like to be competitive in the games against Thuringia and Lahn-Dill, but in those kind of games, you always need an element of luck on your side, I think, as the potentially smaller club, maybe with not quite so deep a rotation and things, then there has to be an element. Like if those teams play at 100% of their potential, then then we're in trouble. But I mean, our aim is absolutely to take some games off of the top two if we can, and then maintain our position in the league. But it's going to be tight. Like, you can see the games that Raden put up against Thuringen, like, they're not going to be pushovers. They never are. Like, Hamburg aren't going to be pushovers. Wiesbaden have signed some new guys. Like, they're going to be tough. That kind of middle group in the league is going to be difficult, I think. Like, we were third by a few points in the end last season, but there was a lot of games where it was a couple of points in the end of a match that just turned it in our favor. And there weren't so many that went against us in those last few minutes, but that could have very easily been different. So I think until the games really start, a concrete team goal is really difficult to pick, I think.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Thanks, Joe. Mareike, I'll move on to you next. Last season, you finished in the mid-table. So what are your goals to sort of improve that performance going forward in the new season?
Well, I think right now we focus on the situation. We know life's pretty difficult right now throughout the summer with only training, and we're just really looking forward to the first games. And we want to make sure that we as a team are putting out some really good basketball and just finding into that groove from last season a little bit and improve from there. Obviously, we don't expect to be fighting for the title of the league, but at the same time, I think we were always good for some surprises. And we really just want to make sure that we do our best and play some really good games and try to compete as much as we can to the top.
That's great. Thanks for that, Mareike. And then André, I'll go to you last. Obviously, Bulls finished top of the league last season, and then obviously you won the Champions League as well. So how do you maintain to still be the top dog in the German league going forward this season?
I think our position is like the most difficult for everybody, or from everybody in the league, because like we're undefeated for 60 games now, and I think everybody's in the hunt for us. I mean, I'm looking at 3 already. They are just smiling at me and be like, okay, and they're waiting for their game, and I think this is our motivation to stay there, to stay on top, and we are the German champions. With Corona, I know it's always a bit difficult to talk about that, but this is our motivation from the start. Like, we don't want to lose any like easy games. We don't want to go into every game with a lot of focus, with a lot of aggressiveness, competitiveness, and we have a chip on our shoulder to stay there. And everybody's in a hunt. We know that. And we're preparing extra for all the teams now, and to be ready.
That's great to hear, and I wish you guys all the best of luck for the upcoming season. So that concludes the first ever Rollt Roundtable, previewing the RBBL 1. Stay tuned to Rollt for more exciting content. This is the first ever Roundtable format we've done, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Once again, guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. I really appreciate it. And like you said, just good luck for the next season. Thank you very much.